Hello, I'm Maria Hall Brown, and this is LA Currents. The LA Fire Department became a paid career employment opportunity in February of 1886. Back then, they would go for days, weeks without a fire. Well, lots has changed since then, but celebrating the rich history of the LA Fire Department. I'm delighted to be here at the LA Fire Department Museum, and I am joined by the president of the LA Fire Department Historical Society, retired Captain Jim Finn. Nice to have you with me today.
Thank you, Maria.
And nice to be in such an incredibly rich environment. Well, it's now packed in here.
Yes.
With such an incredible array. So what are some of the most interesting elements that you've been able to glean and bring in here that would fascinate even people who don't know about the fire department?
Well, actually the earliest of our apparatus is a Hayes aerial, and it's from the early 1880s. This aerial ladder that was much improved over what they were using. We have one of the very few, if not the only, existing Hayes aerial left in the world. The steamer that's sitting right behind you is from 1887, the LA Fire Department. That was one of our earliest purchases when we became a paid department.
There's the what, it's visually fascinating, the stories are interesting, the people involved, have a long and interesting story to tell. So there's the what, but there's the why. Why is this place here? And why is it important for, us to know that it's here? And, why should we think about all of these stories and understand the history of the LA Fire Department?
Well, history is obviously very important in whatever walk of life you're in, or just life itself. If you don't know where you're coming from or where you've been, then you really don't know where you're going. And it's kind of funny how this job in particular, the more things change, the more they're the same, it seems like.
Firefighters don't just fight fires. There's a broad range of what they are asked to do, required to do. There's literally an ambulance over your shoulder that I can see myself. So, what's the scope of a firefighter's life, and how is that reflected in this museum?
Well, pretty much everything. And especially on the weekends. No other city agencies not very many of them are open on the weekends, and so people call who's open, and we're open, and we go to see if there's, if it's something that we can take care of. And if it is, we take care of it. If it's not, we try and get help for them, whatever they need. So.
And you can see that in here, I would imagine, in all these different things. The different utilitarian and emotional purposes of all these items.
And a lot of these items that you see in here are the result of something that somebody has responded to, some firefighter has responded to, and they didn't have what they needed to properly take care of it, and so they designed and built it. And we have a lot of tools that are actually named after firefighters. Blake four-way valve and Schultz shut-off, those are named after LA firefighters that designed these things for us to use.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How does one go from being a firefighter who needs something to creating that something to actually getting it named after them? Is there a process?
No, there's not a process. Okay. And they don't always get named after them.
Where's the Jim Finn of things?
Yeah, we don't have that.
There's also a fun element. You can actually have a party here.
We do, and we tried kids' birthday parties, but those did not work for us. But we have had other events here. We've had retirement dinners for firefighters. We've had weddings, both upstairs and out in front. Mm-hmm. And we've had memorial. Well, we have our own memorial service every year to honor the firefighters that are on that wall and the people that have died during the year. Right. But we've also had memorial services here for an individual member that has passed away, and that's where they want to have the service to honor them.
There's also a very poignant part of this facility that memorializes officers who have fallen in the line of duty, which
Right.
is an incredibly important part of, honoring their career and their dedication and their sacrifice. The memorial wall is a very dynamic part of this.
Yeah. Back in 2000, we weren't even open yet, but we knew we were coming in here.
Right.
And our fire chief's wife, Liz Bamatri, was the prime mover behind the memorial. We'd been, a fire department at that time for 114 years and had no memorial for fallen firefighters. Every year we had a memorial service, but it was held on the south lawn of City Hall at the Cenotaph, which was there to honor LA firefighters that went to fight in World War II. There's no names or anything on this, it's just something that was put there back in 1944 to honor them. So we needed an appropriate place to honor those people, and so it was through her input, and I mentioned Tom LaBonge earlier. He was part of that group also, and Liz actually went back to Minnesota to have those statues made that are out there.
And I don't mean to interrupt, but I think it's important. Those statues really tell their own story. It's
Yeah.
a really important tribute to the type of people who become firefighters.
Right. We did something that most fire departments don't do if they have memorial statues. Most fire departments put a breathing apparatus face piece on them. So with that face piece covering them, you don't know who they are. You don't know what they look like. We wanted to do something a little different. We used 5 active firefighters to pose for those, and with 5 statues we did as much as we could to show our diversity with ethnicity and gender. And there's one thing also different about those, is that when you look at the helmets, there's 5 different numbers on the helmets. You wouldn't have a firefighting crew with 5 different numbers on their helmets. They'd be from the same station. Sure. But we were doing the same thing. We highlighted 5 different areas of the city with those station numbers. So you can see the gender, you can see the ethnicity, and then they're there in front of our memorial wall that has all of the people listed that died in the line of duty.
And a yearly honorarium for them, etc. There's also an element to this museum which I think is really important to talk about. There's an educational component. So what is the Institute, and how is that utilized with the history?
Bill Rowland, who it's named for, was a benefactor of this museum. He was a retired firefighter. Sadly, last year he passed away. The Educational Center is named after him, and what we're doing is trying to teach children and adults fire and life safety.
On a personal level?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you don't need perhaps the assistance of a firefighter, but how to take care of yourself before professional aid arrives.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, if people want to get more information about this museum and when they can come and when it's going to be, more open and it's free, which is the best part.
Right.
What's the best website?
LAFDmuseum.org.
All right. Well, Jim, this has been an ultimate delight, and this is a fascinating place, and I cannot emphasize that you need to get a lot of people in here to support everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Maria. I appreciate you coming.
Thanks. And that's a wrap on this LA Currents.